Ait Nouri is going to be a part of Man City's 2025-26 squad. Everyone just has one question: what made Pep Guardiola go for Ait Nouri? Under Lopetegui, he played in a 4-3-3 system. He's played as a fullback, as a wingback, even under Nuno. Under Bruno Lage, he was deployed in a back five, and currently too, he's played as a wingback in a back five system. So mostly he's accustomed to the back five system. He's got great attacking qualities. He can actually stretch the defensive line out. He brings a natural width, a lot of attacking flair, even though he's one of those traditional fullbacks, I would say, who likes overlapping a lot. He has a tendency to actually get into those attacking positions near the penalty arc, specifically in the central and the left side of the pitch. But Ait Nouri is a man who can be molded in any direction he wants to. And who better than Pep Guardiola can actually take charge of this man? Ait Nouri has signed a 5-year deal with Man City, right, for 31.2 million quid plus bonuses, which comes down to 36 million quid. This is a bargain for a 23-year-old, 24-year-old fullback who has been overperforming in that Wolves project. One of the prime triggers for Ait Nouri to shift to a Big Six club was obviously to get developed, to get that recognition, because playing for Wolves got him in a pretty redundant situation. Given his caliber, it used to seem like he is depended on a lot in that project. In fact, Wolves had 58% of domination in the metric that you can see on the pitch as shown in this picture. Wolves as a project had pretty average players, and in order for them to leverage the most out of these players, it needed Ait Nouri to step up. The pressure was mounting on him, and I think it was time that Ait Nouri actually went in for a better project. Now, Man City have lacked a left-back specialist ever since Benjamin Mendy left City in 2021 due to controversial reasons. But Man City over the last couple of seasons have had some phenomenal fullbacks which I am really in awe of, like Zinchenko. Personally, I really liked him, started his career as a midfielder. Now, Man City have had a line of fullbacks who, as the latest trend suggests, they like inverting, right? Zinchenko was one of the first fullbacks to do that, right? And then you had the likes of Nathan Ake, who's been one of the best defenders for Man City. But Nathan Ake was never that athletic. He was shifted back into the left centre-half position, right next to Ruben Diaz, provided some phenomenal defensive capabilities at the back. We thought Gvardiol was acquired to fill in the ranks as a left centre-back, but Gvardiol has done a phenomenal job. Squawka has rated him as the best left fullback in the 24-25 Premier League season. In fact, he's occupied some grave attacking areas on that pitch. He's relentless, he's unstoppable, and he's even acquired that knack of scoring goal in that striker's stride as a number 9, sometimes stepping in for Haaland when he was missing out on targets. And Man City have had another player, Nico O'Reilly, who came in from the academy, again, pretty astute, really flexible, really agile, looks pretty athletic, and is tall. Primarily played as a defensive midfielder, but Pep deployed him as a fullback. And trust me, the games that we saw from him, I thought Man City would never go in for another replacement. The question still remains, will he trust Gvardiol for that position, or is he planning to put Gvardiol in the left centre half? There are rumours that John Stones, Nathan Ake are planning for a departure, seeing the line of centre backs that Pep has acquired in the last 2 seasons. We have a heat map of a few Premier League fixtures, and I would like you to understand that Wolves as a system felt very oppressed because their attacking quality lacked that cohesion. They were very isolated up front. In fact, they used to get really narrowed up. In order for them to provide that support on the flanks, they expected a lot from Ait Nouri. As you can see in the heat map, he was doing a lot of that defensive work. Ait Nouri scored 5 goals and provided 7 assists. That's been the maximum from any fullback in the Premier League 24-25 season. He's created 46 chances in the Premier League this season, which is 4th among the defenders, and he's completed 63 dribbles, which is again a really high number for a defender, 2nd among defenders. This is a culmination of a heat map where he was more defensively focused, and I wanted you guys to see that why is this gonna be different, right, when he plays for Man City. One of the prime reasons why I think Pep Guardiola is really going for him is because he can overlap, he can deliver curling crosses, low level crosses, and even drift centrally to break lines, right? This offers City somewhat of an experience which Sané brought to the team, right? City have lacked that element of an overlapping fullback in the last couple of seasons, and you've seen that when that one season when they lacked that number 9 instinct. You saw a lot of rotation in that season too without a striker, primarily. Ryan Ait Nouri just offers players like Jack Grealish, who might be on the verge of departing, but I think he will fit really well with Jack Grealish, if not Jeremy Doku. With Doku as well, he just likes surging into the box. He's pretty direct with his display, but I think he'll gel really well. He'll give opportunities for Jack Grealish to maneuver into the central areas. This is Gvardiol's heat map vis-a-vis Ait Nouri's in the Premier League 24-25 season. Look at the starking difference, right? Gvardiol loves inverting in. He's covered more central areas, right, than Ait Nouri. Gvardiol primarily in the Bundesliga has played as a left centre half, right? He's known for his tremendous range of passing, which is one of the best amongst defenders in the Premier League. Ait Nouri loves tugging the byline, right? He stretches the defensive lines out. He can make a run for it. He can even invert in situations. But Wolves, primarily again, like I mentioned, they focused more on the central areas, so the onus of actually running the flanks came on the wingbacks. Since he loves overlapping a lot, his crossing ability is just marvelous. 94 crosses compared to Gvardiol's 22, right, with a 26.6% of accuracy, right, and he's played so many crosses in open play as well. Gvardiol again has that attacker's stride too, but he loves inverting in. I think Pep is looking to develop Ait Nouri in a way that he can invert, and he can also play in his natural stride as an overlapping fullback and as an underlapping fullback, with the fact that he's comfortable with both his feet. This is another metric offensively. He's won more corners, loves staying in that zone. His recoveries have been tremendous. Like I mentioned, people undermine his defensive capabilities, but this guy can make some really good recoveries. The only facet to his game which I feel can be better is his interceptions, right? His defensive actions, that intelligence, that part of his knowledge can actually be explored, and he can be helped out with various tools, which I'm sure Pep and his coaches will. Ait Nouri also has a tendency of losing a lot of possession because, again, like I mentioned, the dependency of him carrying the ball a lot. As per the metric of progressive carries, he's one of the top most rated defenders, but at the same time, that brings a con, that brings a challenge. You tend to lose the ball more often because defenders are actually going to pounce on you. And he's also one of the most tackled defenders, tackled 103 times compared to Gvardiol, who's just been tackled 30 times. Why? Because City, more focused on rotating, more focused on being disciplined, right, controlled. Gvardiol has more passing accuracy, but Ait Nouri is not lacking far behind. He's attempted some brilliant long passes too, just taking out the defensive lines, whereas what Ait Nouri has done, not enough, but Gvardiol's long passing accuracy is something which I think Pep will be focusing on, which is why I think he'd be deployed back as a left centre half, an amalgamation of what a fullback and a left centre half should be like, which is why we've seen even the likes of Alaba, who played as a left back in Bayern Munich, shift into that left centre half position and allowing Alphonso Davies to surge ahead. This just provides you more options at the back. This combination of Ait Nouri and Gvardiol is going to be tremendous. Let's just move to the defensive side of the game. See, Ait Nouri, in my opinion, is still raw, but he's improving, right? Now under Lopetegui, I think he did have that development as a defender because I think the season before he lacked a lot of it, right? He was really raw that time. His best performances have come as a wingback, but his positional weakness, right, and occasional lapses in concentration is something that we've all seen on the pitch. Now, as I mentioned, he will be refined because he'll be playing in a back four system as the fullback mostly. So he'll have to put in a really good shift, but at the same time, City as a team, which we've known in the past couple of seasons, are really good in organizing themselves, really good with the recovery time, really good in retrieving the ball back, right? Applying pressure on the opposition. I think the reason why Pep has gone for these three signings, Reindeers, Cherki, and Ryan Ait Nouri, is to just provide that engine, more lungs, more stamina, more endurance on the pitch. With the lack of game time that De Bruyne was getting, it affected players like Bernardo Silva, and I think they should have not let go of players like Julian Alvarez, who were so phenomenal. And these players, Ryan Ait Nouri is going to add on to that technical aspect to the game too. Now, as you can clearly see, right, his tackling is more than Gvardiol's, right, 2.6 vis-a-vis 1.1. But at the same time, he has a tendency of getting dribble past. He's been dribble past more than Gvardiol has, right? Gvardiol is known for his defensive capabilities, which is why he did so well in that position. But one thing which I like about Ait Nouri is because of his recoveries, he has not really lacked that focus when it comes to conceding a goal, unlike what we've seen from Van Dijk, right? We've seen from Lindelof, what we've seen from Harry Maguire over the last couple of seasons. I think he's not really susceptible in that element, but at the same time, getting dribble pass is something which people will be worried about. See, Ryan Ait Nouri joining City is happening for a reason. He wanted to stay with the club. He was sure that this is the club that he really wants to work with, right? And he knew what he's signing up for. He's signing up for a team where he needs to fight for his position, which is where we come to the squad dynamics and the depth, right? We have a Vitor Reis who's a youngster, a teenager who's been signed from Brazil. Manuel Akanji, again, might be on the verge of departing, but I don't think he will leave. John Stones, Nathan Ake. Now, Akanji played as a left back in Dortmund, right, and a centre half. Nathan Ake primarily played as a left back, shifted to the left centre half position. Gvardiol played as a left back in City. And this is the fourth entrant, Ryan Ait Nouri. So City do have a lot of options. In fact, they have 5 options. I've added Nico O'Reilly way down in the bottom. This just gives Guardiola a lot of options, a lot of versatility, right? And a lot of resilience at the same time, because these players are going to be playing for a 38-game long season. Now, just to summarize everything, he has provided 7 assists in the Premier League, which comes to top 8% versus other Premier League fullbacks, right? Successful take-ons. This guy has a really good metric of taking defenders on. He's completed 63 take-ons, which is a massive number for a fullback, right? Top 3%, since Wolves have had an element of deficiency in terms of trying to culminate an attack. Just with the midfielders, they do require support from the wing-back. And I think Wan-Bissaka is one person who comes in that metric too, the successful take-ons. Wan-Bissaka is one guy who actually comes in that metric in the top 3%, right? But he is in the top 10% of the progressive carries into the penalty area too. Interceptions, bottom 31. Aerials, bottom 23. Dispossessed, bottom 6. These do give us warning signs that defensively he might be susceptible, but again, playing in a team like Wolves, you are more susceptible to attacks. Expected goals that they've conceded is alarming, right? But at the same time, players like Cunha and Stan Lawson have actually punched above their weight, right? They've overachieved their XG in a way. Wolves are sitting on second after Nottingham when it comes to goals versus XG, right? And that is a metric which shows that they've actually created lesser chances than usual. But Ait Nouri is one of those defenders who've helped them massively in creating many chances. In fact, he ranks 5th or 6th when it comes to chance creation from defenders this season. So all in all, I feel Ait Nouri is a tremendous signing, and Pep Guardiola is going to be really happy, really ecstatic to be working with him on this Man City project.